Hi, my name is Muhammad dan Founder Muhammad Izwan, ID number SEC23070275. For the Variety Final project, I choose to interview William from Hong Kong, which is categorized as an outer circle country where English is a second language widely used in business and education.
Hello and good night. So my name is Muhammad Dan Afan bin Muhammad Izwan. You can call me Daniel. I'm a student from College Professional Mara Seri Iskandar Perak, pursuing English communication. So can you please introduce yourself, your name, your age, your hometown, and your current study?
All right, so hello, my name is William and I'm 20 years old this year and I'm born in Hong Kong and I'm studying in Hong Kong University.
Okay. First question, how did English first become part of your country language?
Well, I do believe that English became one of our language because of the previous years when there was war going on, the British colonies had spread English into our country, and I do believe that starting from that point, English became one of the used language in our countries.
Okay. Information. Moving on. How do you think English has changed in your country compared to the past?
Well, English definitely changed a lot for our country because now we are able to enjoy materials internationally with just looking at the text itself instead of just like have to complicated translations for the whole text and has to be accurate.
Right, William? For the third question, what is your country today?
In my country, I do believe that it is widely spoken now as a lot of people start to learn English in the small age. So I would say pretty much everyone knows how to speak it and use it for daily communications.
I think. Question. What benefits do people in your country see in using English as a global language?
I think that it will make us be more friendly with the world because we are able to communicate internationally without language barrier.
Okay. Do you think between or not?
Mm, I would say like this gap won't be very troublesome for everyone. For the fluent speakers, it will be good for them internationally. And for the non-fluent speaker, it will be an opportunity for them to recognize themselves better and learn English more efficiently, I would say.
Okay. Moving on. Are there any English words that have become part of your country everyday speech?
Oh, definitely there will be some. For example, the most common one, thank you. And you look very nice today because maybe people from outside of country, when they come to visit our country, they will use English. So when we see them, we will just say these common words.
I see. Next question, William. Do you code mix or code switch English with the native language?
Mm, I will definitely do that as English has been a part of my life since at a small age. So when I talk, usually with some words, especially where I come from, there's some words maybe they'll be longer. However, if we use English, it'll be shorter. So the communication will be more shorter.
Okay. And people in your country adopt new English slang. Are they easily influenced?
I would say they are easy influence as nowadays they will use social media to look at all these like influencers, they'll post videos involving English, and I would say these slangs have become a trend for these young generations now.
Last question. Are there any words that are difficult to pronounce? What and why?
Mm, Hard to pronounce. I would say there are a few. If we never hear it before, it just by wording, for example, some words I know they have like those silent H, one of the examples, which might be difficult for us because if we haven't heard it based on ear, instead of just the words, we'll pronounce it weirdly. So it will be hard for us to use some words, I would say.
Okay. That's all the question for this interview, William. Thank you for spending your time, and I'm very sorry for previous problem we had. So I
It's
think
all
that's all.
right.
Thank
Thank
you, William.
you. All right. Thank you, Daniel.
Throughout the interview session, my summary of finding and reflection for expert number one, for question number one, is that William mentioned English become part of his country's language due to British colonization during the war, though he wasn't sure about the exact detail of its spread. For question number two, he stated that English has changed significantly compared to the past. People can now access international materials easily without needing complicated translation, making it communication on more convenient. Next, for our aspect number two, the third question is how commonly is English spoken in his country today? William explained that English is widely spoken as many people start learning it from a young age, allowing most individuals to use it comfortably in daily conversation. For the fourth question, about the benefits of using English as a global language, William believes it brings many advantages. It helps people communicate internationally without language barriers, making interaction smoother and more inclusive. For fluent speakers, it opens doors to global opportunities, while for non-fluent speakers, it serves as motivation to improve their English skills and connect with the world more effectively. For aspect number three, the fifth question is about whether English creates a gap between fluent and non-fluent speakers. William mentioned that English can create a gap as fluent speakers have more international opportunities, while non-fluent speakers may struggle with communication and feel excluded. Language barriers can make it difficult for some to express themselves or engage in global conversations. For the lexical questions, William explained that English words have become a natural part of everyday speech in his country. Common phrases like thank you and you look very nice today are frequently used, especially when interacting with tourists or foreigners. The influence of English has made this expression common in daily conversations. For aspect number four, the seventh question is, do you code mix or code switch English with native language? William mentioned that he often code mix and code switches English with his native language. Since English has been part of his life from a young age, he naturally switches between language. He finds that some words in English are shorter and more convenient to use, making communication quicker and more efficient. The eighth question is, how do young people in your country adopt new English slang? Are they easily influenced? William explained that young people in his country easily adopt with English slang, mainly through social media. They are influenced by online content from influencers and trending video, which expose them to popular slang terms. As a result, these slang words quickly become part of their daily conversation, especially among the younger generation. Last question is, are there any words that are difficult to pronounce? What and why? William mentioned that some English words are difficult to pronounce, especially those with silent letters or unfamiliar sound. He explained that words with a silent H can be challenging because they are not pronounced as they appear. If someone has never heard the word before, they might pronounce it incorrectly, making it harder to use in conversation. To summarize, English became part of William's country due to historical influence. Over time, it has evolved, making communication more convenient. Many people learn English from a young age, increasing its usage and helping in global interaction by removing language barrier. Fluency in English provides better opportunities internationally. However, it can also create a gap between fluent and non-fluent speakers. Young people easily adopt English slang through social media influence, and some English words are difficult to pronounce due to silent letters and unfamiliar sound.
Hi, my name is Ahmad Hafiz. For the Variety Finder project, I choose to interview Miss Katarina from Mozambique, which is categorized as an expanding circle country where English is a foreign language, primarily used in international communication.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, Katarina. My name is Ahmad Hafiz. Thank you for accepting the request of mine to you to join the interview. So So the reason I want to interview you because I want to know how the English is used by your country. So
Okay.
before we start, can you introduce yourself first?
Yeah, sure. My name is Catarina. I'm from Mozambique. I'm taking civil engineering. This is my second year, second semester.
Thank you, Katrina. So my
You're
first
welcome.
question is, how did English first become part of your country language?
Well, English was introduced because of the our neighbors and my country, like Mozambique, Zimbabwe, all of these countries they speak English. So most of the people from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, they are in my country. So it make easy to us to learn English from them. And also another point that increased the language, the English language was the business. When Mozambique started a business with ACIDC, which is um, which they speak like completely English. They started to learn English and they started also to teach English. So yeah, but at the first point it was because of our neighbors, the neighbor country like South Africa and Zimbabwe. After that was the business. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
which is from your neighbor country.
yes.
Okay. So next question is, how do you think English has changed in your country compared to the past?
I would say we changed a lot because at the past it was like so hard to communicate with some South African, some Zimbabwean, because they speak English and we speak Portuguese. So it was hard. And nowadays, with English, we can communicate with them, and it's so much easy also to speak with any international. So it changed a lot, especially because of the tourists that they come to our country. We can easily speak, and you can also find like a kid to say it, like they already know how to say at least his name in English. And yeah, so I would say changed a lot, especially in terms of business also. Yeah, we have a lot of international company in my country now doing English. Yeah.
Okay. So question number
Yeah.
3, how commonly is English spoken in your country today?
uh as I was saying that nowadays you can find the kids speaking English, so it's too easy now due to a lot of songs in English movies. So I will say that it's too common nowadays, even for the young, like different ages. Even for my grandma, she know at least how to say hello, hi. So I would say that it's too common. It's not a weird language for us now, especially because of the South Africa. It's all about South Africa. Yeah,
Oh,
because they came to our country and also we go because it's just 1 hour from capital to South Africa, just 1 hour. You can go by your car and stuff. And yeah, and and also Mozambicans they go to South Africa to find the business and the stuff. So it's too easy. It's too easy. I would say yeah, it's too easy for us.
okay.
Mm.
Question number 4, what benefit do people in your country see in using language as a global language?
I would say job opportunity, education, um, international business also. Uh, in terms of education, I'm the one that I can prove it because when I was searching to start outside, the main requirement it was to speak English. So I started to learn English from my country and then I came here also to learn English. So if you know how to speak English, this is one benefit for you. And also if you know how to speak English, it's so much easy to get job. Since in my country we are getting in development, I would say that we have a small companies and we don't have a big companies. So if you want to go to a big company, you must know at least how to speak English. So if you know how to speak English, this is a good start for you.
Oh,
So
Yes, sir.
yeah, I'll say job, education, and stuff.
So question number 5. Do you think English create a gap between fluent speaker and those who are not?
Uh, I would say yes and no. Depends on who are you talking with, because you can find someone that who want to learn and listen from someone they can be motivated to learn, and you can so find the people that they just ignore the fa- facts that they need to know English. But I would say that if we say the rate or the percentage of the people, I would say no, because uh, it's too much easy for us to learn how to speak English too. It's too much easy for us also to communicate with each other. So if you have someone to teach you how to speak English, we just like accept that and learn from them. So I think that there is no gap, because also the Portuguese is the official language in my country, but we also have our it's just a native language. So if you know how to speak Portuguese, and if you don't know how to speak the native language, is it was a big problem. But nowadays is like common, because there is a lot of people in my country that they know how to speak Portuguese. So yeah, depends on like who are you talking with? Of course, that you can go with someone that the education is not good, and then you arrive and then say hi. I think that you must see first who are you talking with, just to speak with. I don't know, but I don't know how to say if there is a gap, because I didn't face this kind of things. I would say between Portuguese and native language, yes, but English, no. English, no.
Okay. So no.
Yep.
Okay. Next. Are there any English word that have become part of your country everyday speech?
Yes, I will say yes. I can give like some example. Computer is computer also. But we call like
Computer.
computador.
Computer
Computer is
door.
computador. Yes. Yeah. And internet is same. You can say internet. And WhatsApp is WhatsApp. And self is same thing. Self, we call self. And the marketing is same. We call marketing. It's kind of
Uh,
that. Like, can you bring my computer? We say it like, podes trazer meu computador. When you want to say like, I need internet, we say like, eu preciso de internet. It's kind of, yeah. One of the example is just like, you need to do a good marketing. In Portuguese is tens que fazer bom marketing. It's kind of
ah,
that. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So next, do you could mix or quick switch English with the native language?
Mm, I would say yes. The word meeting, we say like, uh, let's do a meeting. We say like, podemos fazer meeting amanhã.
And
Yeah,
then
it's kind of
meet.
that. Yeah, it's kind of that. It's kind of that. Or like, he has a deadline for tomorrow. We can say like, I can say like, eu tenho deadline para amanhã. It's kind of that. So yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
next, how do young people in your country adopt new English slang? Are they easily influenced?
Yeah, this is the good question. Most of the youngest, they adopt like bro, chill, something like that, because of the music of the songs. So you can like easily find someone say like, bro, like just chill. just chill. I would say it's all about the music that they listening.
Music.
Yeah. Uh
Like,
huh.
oh, because of the music. So last
Mm-hmm.
question. Are there any words that are difficult to pronounce? What and why?
I would say yes because of Portuguese accent and English accent. It's a bit different. Like one of the words that I would say that is hard to us is is think think. We say think, not think.
Oh, think? Okay.
Yes, we say think, but it's not think. It's think or something like that. And the word also word. We say world. It's quite hard because of the Portuguese and English. So I'll
So,
say yeah, a bit some of the language for us.
oh, okay. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the last question I get for you. So, thank you, Katrina, for answering all my questions.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
For the first question, I asked Miss Katarina how English first became part of a country's language, and she explained that it was mainly due to the influence of neighboring countries like Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and South Africa, where English is widely spoken. Many people from this country migrated to hers, making it easier for locals to learn English through daily interaction. Another key factor was business. When Mozambique started trading with an English-speaking organization called SIDC, more people had to learn the language. Over time, this led to the wider teaching and use of English in her countries. For next question, Ms. Katarina explained that in the past, communication with South African and Zimbabwean was difficult because they spoke English while her country spoke Portuguese. However, today English has made communication on much easier, not just with neighboring countries but also with international visitors and tourists. She also mentioned that more children are learning English at young age, with even kids knowing how to say basic things like their names. In addition, English has had a big impact on business as many international companies now operate in her countries, making the language even more important. Overall, English has changed a lot in her country, making communication on tourism and business much easier. For my third question, which is how commonly is English spoken in your country today? She say that English is now very common and even young children can speak some English, influenced by song and movies. People of all age, including her grandmother, know basic words like hello and hi, making English no longer a strange language in her country. She also highlighted the strong influence of South Africa as many South Africans visit her country and her people frequently travel there for business. Since the capital is just an hour away from South Africa by cars, English has become even more widely used in daily life. What benefit do people in your country see in using English as a global language? She explained that one of the biggest benefits is job opportunities, as knowing English make it easier to get a job, especially in bigger companies. Education is another key factor. English is often a requirement for study abroad, and she personally experienced this when applying to study outside her country. International business is also a major advantage as English allows for smoother communication in global trade. Since her country is still developing and has mostly small companies, English is essential for those who want to work in large business. Overall, English helps in many areas, making both professional and everyday interaction much easier. For the next question, she mentioned that it depends on who you are talking to. Some people are motivated to learn English and listen to others, while some choose to ignore its importance. However, overall, she believes there is no major gap because learning English is relatively easy in her country, and people are generally open to learning if they have someone to teach them.
She also mentioned that the real gap is not with English but between Portuguese and native language, as that create more communication on challenge in her country. So next question, which is, are there any English words that have become part of your country everyday speech? Miss Katrina said yes. Many language words have become part of everyday speech in her country. Some words remain the same or have slight adaptation, such as computer, said computador, internet, WhatsApp, and marketing. People naturally mix this word into Portuguese sentence like saying internet when asking for a connection. Words like marketing are also commonly used without translation. Overall, English has influenced daily conversation, making certain words a natural part of communication on. For the next question, which is, do you code mix or code switch English with the native language? Miss Katrina said yes. She code mix and code switches English with her native language. She explained that people in her country often blend English words into their speech naturally. This happens in casual conversation and everyday situation, making English a common part of the communication on alongside their native language. So next question, I asked her, how do young people in your country adopt new language English slang? Are they easily influenced? Miss Katarina mentioned that young people in her country easily adopt new English slang words like bro and chill are commonly used in everyday conversation. She explained that music is the biggest influence as many young people pick up slang from the song they listen to. Because of this, it's very common to hear them casually using English slang in their speech. For the last question, Ms. Katarina explained that some English words are difficult to pronounce because of differences between the Portuguese and English accent. One example is ting, which is often mispronounced as ting or ting instead of the correct pronunciation. Another challenging word is word, as its sound structure is tricky for native Portuguese speaker. This pronunciation difficulties happen because some English sound doesn't exist in Portuguese, making them harder to say correctly. To summarize, English become part of Miss Katrina country due to influence from neighboring countries and business trade. Over time, it has become more common, making communication on with foreigner and tourists easier. Today, English is widely spoken, especially because of connection with South Africa and business opportunities. Knowing English brings many benefits such as better job, education, and business prospect. However, it does not create a big gap between fluent and non-fluent speaker, as many people are eager to learn some English words are commonly used like computer, internet, and marketing. People often code mix and code switch English with their native language. Young people especially pick up English slang for music using words like bro and chill. However, some words like ting and work are hard to pronounce due to accent differences.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Haris Iskandar bin Muhammad Azli, and my ID number is SEC23070195. For this project, I choose to interview Mr. Wirman from the Philippines. The Philippines is a country where English is widely spoken and used in education and business. Mr. Wirman is 20 years old and was born in Samar at Eastern Visayas Regional Medical Center. He is currently a student working hard toward his goals. In this video, we will learn more about his background, experiences, and perspectives. So let's get started.
Can we start?
Yeah, sure.
Alright. So, hello, my name is Hari Iskandar, and today I'll be conducting an interview about the role of the English language in your country. So now we will discuss its history, how it has evolved, and how it affects communication in our daily lives. So yes, this will be a brief and insightful discussion to understand English impact on our culture and language.
So thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. So let's begin. So can you introduce yourself?
So my name is Firman. So I'm from Philippines. I am born in Zamboanga and my age is 20 this year.
All right. So can we start with the questions?
Can you repeat the question? I was lagging just now.
All right. So,
Okay.
how did English first become part of your country language?
So looking back at the time, English was firstly introduced in our country when the Americans colonized our country in 18th to 19th century. So during this period, the US established English as the primary medium of instruction in school and integrated it into government and business sector. Over time, English became one of the official languages of the Philippines and also being used by particularly everyone or every person in Philippines.
All right. So that's it.
Yes. That's
All
it.
right. So we move on with for the next questions. So,
Mhm.
how do you think English has changed in your country compared to the past?
Well, compared to the past, English was primarily used in formal settings like education, government, and business. Today, it has become more integrated into everyday communication, especially with the rise of social media and globalization. Filipino English, or also known Taglish, is like Malaysian English slang. In Malaysia, people use Melayu English ataupun Malay English as their everyday conversation language. In Philippines, we also have those kind of slang, and we call it as Taglish. It's also more commonly spoken now, blending English with Tagalog, just like Malaysian with their Malay English.
All right. So the next question. So,
Mhm.
how commonly is English spoken in your country?
Well, English is widely spoken in the Philippines, especially in urban areas, and it is used in education, media, and even business. Many Filipinos and Tausug and Tagalog people, even those who are not fluent, can understand and communicate in English at a basic level. They also using it in their everyday normal conversation, like for example when they try to speak with their friends. But since they are not that professional in their English, they always mix their English language with their local and native languages.
So, okay, thank you. So the next questions. Um, what benefits do people in your country see in using English as a global language?
Mm, Filipinos see English as a valuable skill for career opportunities. Oh, problem. Okay. So Filipino see English as a valuable skill for career opportunities, especially in the business process, outsourcing, industry, and overseas job. It also allows people easier to access the global information, entertainment, and education since Filipinos, teenager young nowadays, are more becoming interested in Western traditional and net media social. Like for example, their TikTok FYP, they pre they are preferable to watch um, Western content creator rather than watching their local or native content creator when they are watching TikTok and other most social media networks.
Okay, so we move on with the next question, which is, do you think English creates a gap between fluent speakers and those who are not?
In my point of view, I think is yes, because English fluency can create divide between social classes. Those who are fluent often have better job opportunities, while those who struggle with English may face difficulties in higher education and employment. Since nowadays, whenever there's an employer will they will try to find employee who is more professional or maybe can speak fluent in English rather than those who cannot speak in English.
So that's it.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine.
So we move on for the next questions. So, are there any English words that have become part of your country's everyday speech?
Well, there's a lot of words that become our everyday that is become our part of our country's everyday speech. Like for example, eat. Yeah, we commonly use eat as our basic words for a day because it is kind of because how do I say it? Well, it's just people nowadays, teenagers mostly, they kind of forget about their native language and prefer to speak in English rather than speaking in their native language. For example, Tausug, Tagalog, and even Bajau. Well, um, they also have Taglish, which is the practice known a practice that they use often every day in order to speak or maybe communicate with their friends. For example, um, how do I say that? Whenever they try to speak their native language, they always mix it with other Tagalog language, Tausug language, and other language that can be used rather than using their native language because it is much more easier to remember, and they think it's way cooler than speaking their own native languages.
Oh, okay, I see. So the next questions, do you code mix or code switch English with the native language?
Can you repeat your question?
Do you code mix or code switch English with the native language?
Mm, code mix and code switch. Well, yes, they frequently use code switch between English and Filipino because there's this one I already tell you it's Taglish, which is their slang or maybe their mix of words and language between English and Tagalog. And for example, someone might say kumain kana. If not, let's eat together. Rather than
Oh,
yeah.
all right. So I see. I
Mhm.
understand. So the next questions, how do young people in your country adapt with new English slang? Are they easily influenced?
Well, young Filipinos, teenagers mostly, quickly pick up English slang from social media, movies, and music. Phrases like chill, flex, sigma, alpha, and other brain rot thing are becoming common in everyday conversation because, yeah, how do I say it? Teenagers nowadays in the Philippines are rather, how do I say it? They prefer talk and speak and talk in English rather than their native language because they think it is way cooler than speaking in their own native language.
Okay, I understand. So we already reached with our last questions. Um, are there any word that are difficult to pronounce? What is the word and why it is so hard to pronounce?
Well, mm, Filipinos and English syllabication is actually kind of there is a huge gap difference between the English syllabication and Filipino syllabication. Like when Malaysian people try to pronounce the words, um, mm, okay, I'll just give you an example. Like for
All
example,
right.
that THAT. Well, in English syllabication, that TH is pronounced as D. Meanwhile, in Filipino, TH they always mispronounce the words with D, which is that, ding, and also what are common words? Huh? Um, understandable, they will speak or pronounce it as understandable. So
All right.
instead, they also pronounce tree, THREE, as tree. So they struggle with words that contains this kind of alphabet, TH, and yeah, mostly TH, and yeah, and etc. So
Okay. So we have reached the end of the interview. So
yes,
thank you for your time and for sharing your thoughts. And your insights are very valuable in understanding how English influences our language and culture. So I appreciate your participation in this interview. So have a great day, Wirman. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a place.
For the first questions, I asked Mr. Wirman how did English language started at his country. During our interview, Mr. Wirman highlighted how English became an important part of the Philippines language and culture. Mr. Wirman explained that English was first introduced to the country during the American colonization in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. During this time, the United States established English as the primary language of instructions in schools. They also integrated it into government affairs and other key sectors, making it an essential part of Filipino society. Over the years, English continued to grow in importance and eventually became one of the country's official languages. Today, it is widely spoken and used in education, business, and everyday communication, making it an important tool for Filipinos and in both local and international settings. Through Mr. Wirman's explanation, we can see how historical events have shaped the way English is used in the Philippines today. It remains a vital part of the country's identity, connecting Filipinos with the global community. For the second question, I asked Mr. Wirman how did he think English has changed in his country compared to the past. In this interview, Mr. Wirman shared his thoughts on how the use of English in the Philippines has evolved over time. In the past, English was mainly used in formal settings such as education, government, and business. However, today it has become more integrated into everyday conversations, largely due to the influence of social media and globalization. Mr. Wirman also pointed out an interesting aspect of how English is spoken in the Philippines. Just like Malaysia has Manglish, a unique blend of English with local slang, Filipinos have their own version, often called Inglok or Filipino English. This informal style of English mixes local language with English words and expressions, making it a more natural and commonly spoken form of communication. Because of this change, English in the Philippines is no longer just a formal or professional language. It has become a part of daily life for many Filipinos. It's a great example of how language evolves over time to reflect culture and modern influences. For the third question, I asked Mr. Wirman how commonly is English spoken in his country today. In the interview, Mr. Wirman explained how commonly English is spoken in the Philippines. He shared that English is widely used, especially in urban areas, where it plays a major role in education, media, and business. Even those who are not completely fluent in English can still understand and communicate in it at a basic level. Mr. Wirman also pointed out an interesting linguistic phenomenon in the Philippines. Many Filipinos naturally mix English with their local language, such as Tagalog or other regional dialects. When speaking in everyday conversations, this is because, while English is commonly used, not everyone speaks it professionally or fluently. Instead, they blend it with their native tongues, creating a unique and natural way of communicating. This shows how English has adapted to Filipino culture, becoming not just a formal language but also a practical tool for everyday interactions. For the next question, I asked him, what benefits do people in your country see in using English as a global language? In the interview, Mr. Wirman shared why Filipinos see English as a valuable language and how it benefits them. One of the biggest advantages of speaking English in the Philippines is career opportunities. Many Filipinos see English as an essential skill, especially in industry like business processing outsourcing (BPO) and overseas jobs, where English proficiency is a major requirement. Being able to speak English opens doors to better employment, both locally and internationally. Beyond job opportunities, English also gives Filipinos easier access to global information, entertainment, and education. Social media plays a huge role in this. Mr. Wirman also mentioned that many Filipinos prefer watching Western content creators on platforms like TikTok rather than their local creators. This preference shows how English connects people to global trends and influence their daily entertainment choice. Overall, English is more than just a language in the Philippines. For the next question, I asked Mr. Wirman, do he think English creates a gap between fluent speakers and those who are not? In the interview, Mr. Wirman shared his thoughts on whether English fluency creates a gap between people in the Philippines. He believes that yes, English can create a divide, particularly in terms of social and economic opportunities. Those who are fluent in English often have access to better job opportunities, especially in industries that require strong communication skills. On the other hand, those who struggle with English may face difficulties in securing higher paying jobs or pursuing higher education. Mr. Wirman pointed out that many employers today prioritize candidates who are proficient in English. This means that individuals who speak English fluently are more likely to be hired for professional roles, while those with limited English skills may be at a disadvantage. This situation highlights the role of English not just as a language but as a factor influencing career growth and social mobility in the Philippines. While it offers great opportunities, it can also create barriers for those who are less fluent. For the next question, I asked Mr. Wirman, is there any English words that have become part of his country's everyday speech? In the interview, Mr. Wirman shared how English words have become a natural part of everyday speech in the Philippines. He explained that many common English words, such as eat, are used regularly in daily conversations. Over time, English has blended into Filipino language, and younger generations, especially teenagers, often prefer speaking English or mixing it with their native language rather than using their traditional dialects, such as Tausug, Tagalog, or Bajau. Mr. Wirman also highlighted Taglish, a popular mix of Tagalog and English, which is commonly used in casual conversations. People find it easier and more convenient to blend English with their native language, making communication more natural. In some cases, the younger Filipinos even see speaking English as cooler than using their native tongue, which has influenced how language is evolving in the country. This shift shows how English continues to shape everyday communication in the Philippines, making it an essential part of modern conversations. For the next question, I asked Mr. Wirman, do his code mix or code switch English with the native language? In the interview, Mr. Wirman explained how Filipinos frequently use code mixing and code switching between English and their native language. He highlighted Taglish, a common blend of Tagalog and English. As an example, this form of communication happens naturally in everyday conversations, where people mix words from both languages. For instance, instead of saying a full sentences in just one language, someone might say kumain kana, if not, let's eat together. This mixing makes conversation more fluid and relatable. Code switching and code mixings are common in the Philippines because many people are bilingual or multilingual. This practice allows them to express themselves more comfortably, using whichever words feel more natural in the moment. It is also a reflection of how English has become deeply integrated into Filipino culture. For the next question, I asked Mr. Wirman, how do young people in your country adopt with new English slang? Are they easily influenced? In the interview, Mr. Wirman shared how young Filipinos quickly adopt new English slang and how easily they are influenced by global trends. He explained that Filipino teenagers often pick up English slang from social media, movies, and music. Words or phrases like chill, flag, sigma, and alpha have become common in their everyday conversations. These slang terms spread rapidly online, shaping how young people communicate with each other. Mr. Wirman also pointed out that many teenagers today prefer speaking in English rather than their native language because they say it as cooler, This shift in language preference reflects the growing influence of Western culture and digital media on Filipino youth. Overall, Mr. Wirman said, English slang is becoming a big part of how young Filipinos express themselves, showing just how much language evolves with trends and technology. For the last question, I asked Mr. Wirman, are there any words that difficult to pronounce? What and why? In the interview, Mr. Wirman discussed some common pronunciation challenges that Filipinos face when speaking English. He explained that one of the biggest difficulties comes with the pronunciation of the TH sound in English. Unlike native language speakers, many Filipinos tend to pronounce TH as D sound. For example, instead of saying that, they might say that. Similarly, words like tree may be pronounced as tree. This happens because the TH sound does not naturally exist in many Filipino languages, making it harder for some speakers to pronounce correctly. Other words, like understandable, may also be spoken with a slightly different pronunciation due to these linguistic differences. This challenge is similar to what speakers of other languages, like Malaysian or other Southeast Asian languages, experience when adapting to English pronunciation rules. Despite this, Filipinos continue to improve their English skills through exposure to media, education, and daily practice. And with that, we have reached the end of our video. Thank you to Mr. Wirman.
Hi, my name is Alham. For the Variety Final Project, I choose to interview Mr. Mubarak from Saudi Arabia, which is categorized as an Spanish circle country for English language. Hello, my name is Alham bin Azian, and today I'll be conducting an interview about the role of English language in your country. So basically, we will discuss about the history, how it was evolved, and how it affects our communication. So this will be a brief and insightful discussion to understand English impact on our culture and language. So can we move to the first question?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first question, how did English first become part of your country's language?
Okay, first, my country, Saudi Arabia. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the English in my country, which is Saudi Arabia. So actually, we could say English was like introduced in Saudi Arabia through trades and business. Okay, in the beginning, then it get wider after discovery of black oil. Okay, uh, and after that, it uh, it it done like cooperation between America and Saudi Arabia and other countries. So this cooperation makes the English goes wider. Okay.
Okay.
Then the English become essential for business and education and diplomacy. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you think English has changed in your country compared to the past?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, in the past, actually, English was like mainly used in business in the beginning, and the small things like small education, English education. Uh, then we after that, like 20 years ago, 20 years ago, English language it gets more wider through social media and daily conversation. Okay, and young and the new generation, the new generation learned actually English more than Arabic for now. I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. How commonly is English spoken in your country today?
All right. So actually, English is quite common in like major cities like Riyadh, Jeddah, Mecca, Dammam, uh, any major cities. Okay. Okay.
like in restaurants and many business and companies and international companies also. And there is also a British consul in Saudi Arabia. So actually, they are only they are focused on British things like IELTS test, all of these things. Yeah.
Oh. So, from your opinion, what benefits do people in your country see in using English as a global language?
Okay. Actually, in my opinion, English is the key to get for. I mean, not in my opinion. Um, for many people, right? So the English is the key for better job. Okay. For example, when you want to like have a job as a doctor or something like this, so you have to have a good language, a good accent, or this one is option. Okay, and if you want to get better promotion, so you have to learn English. Well, yeah.
Okay. Do you think English creates a gap between fluent speaker and those who are not?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Same as the point that I mentioned before. The point that I mentioned before is it has like a positive side, okay, and in the same time it has a negative side because there is like a gap between influently person and a fluently person. Okay, so if the person has a good English, so he is better than the one who has not. So the person who has a better language, so he will get a better job or better work. Okay, so like vice versa for the one who has a bad language, if we say. Yeah.
Okay. So we move on to the next question. Are there any English words that have become part of your country everyday speech?
I'm sorry again.
Are there any English word that become part of your country everyday speech?
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, like in my country, all the world. I mean, like like a mall or a Wi-Fi or internet. So this words is English. Okay, so we use it as a like a common English or common words, something like this, or like same, like the word same. So we use it as a common word. Yeah.
Okay. So do you code mix or code switch English with the native language?
Yeah, of course, of course. Like in my country, of course, there is a many. I think I noticed here also, there is many mixing between English and local language. Like in Arabic, if we want to say like we say like yalla, let's go. So yalla is Arabic word, and let's go is an English word. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay, interesting. Okay, so how do young people in your country adopt new English slang? Are they easily influenced?
Yeah. Actually, in especially in this time or in this generation, so young people are actually heavily influenced by social media and music and movies. So they are quickly pick up the use the English slang, okay, which is the common English, especially from American street, or I could say American general language. Uh, like also pop culture and phrases like cool, oh bro, something like this. I mean, yeah.
Okay, so we begin to our last question. Are there any words that are difficult to pronounce? Can you justify why and what?
uh Actually, there is some words that difficult to pronounce. Yeah, yeah. Some words like who can be difficult for Arabic speakers, me, if we specify, especially actually those who sounds like that don't exist in Arabic, like through. It's not in Arabic, so it's kind of hard to spell it for non-English people. Also, for like vegetable, we in Arabic there is no spelling or sounds f- like vegetable or something like this. Comfortable, something like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have done my interview session, and thank you for your time and sharing
Appreciate
your
it.
thought. Your insights are very valuable in understanding how English influence our language and culture. I appreciate your participation in this interview. Have a great day, Mr. Mubarak. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you. Wa
Thank
alaikum
you.
salam. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So the first question I asked Mr. Mubarak is, how did English first become part of your country language? And the response I get is, English was first introduced to Saudi Arabia through trade and business interaction with other countries. So its presence grew significantly after the discovery of oil, which led to increased cooperation between Saudi Arabia, United States, and other nations. So this collaboration made English more widely used, especially in industry related to oil, commerce, and international relations. Over time, English became an essential language in business, education, and diplomacy, playing a key role in communication with foreign companies, international institutions, and government affairs. So today, it remains a crucial part of various sectors in Saudi Arabia. The second question is, how do you think English has changed in your country compared to the past? Based on Mr. Mubarak, he said that English in Saudi Arabia was primarily used in business and played a minor role in education. It was not widely spoken in everyday life, and only a small portion of the population had access to English education. However, over the last 20 years ago, the influence of English has grown significantly, mainly due to globalization, social media, and technological advancement. Today, English is commonly used in daily conversation, entertainment, and online communication. The younger generation, in particular, is more exposed to English through their social media, movies, and video games, leading many to learn and use English more fluently. In some cases, young people even use English more frequently than Arabic, especially in academic and professional settings. Moving on to the next question, how commonly is English spoken in your country today? Based on Mr. Mubarak answer, English is widely spoken in major cities across Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Jeddah, Mecca, and Dammam. It is commonly used in restaurant, business, and international companies, where English proficiency is often essential for communication. Additionally, institutions like the British Council play a significant role in promoting English by offering programs, training, and exams such as IELTS. With the increasing influence of globalization, social media, and international business, English continue to grow in importance, especially among the younger generation and professional working in global industries. Next, what benefits do people in your country see in using English as a global language? So, Mr. Mubarak said that many people in Saudi Arabia view English as a crucial skill for improving job opportunity and career advancement in fields such as medicine, engineering, and business. English proficiency is often required for effective communication, assessing global research, and collaborate with international professionals. Additionally, many multinational companies operating in Saudi Arabia use English as their primary language, making it essential for securing better job position and promotion. Those who are fluent in English have a competitive advantage in the job market and are more likely to work in international environment. As a result, English is widely recognized as a valuable tool for professional and personal growth. Next, do you think English creates a gap between fluent speakers and those who are not fluent? The response from Mr. Mubarak is English creates a noticeable gap between fluent speakers and those who are not, as it plays a crucial role in career opportunities and social mobility. People with strong English skills have a significant advantage in securing high-paying jobs, gaining promotions, and working in multinational companies. On the other hand, those who are struggle with English may find it more challenging to compete in the job market, limiting their career growth and opportunity. This language barrier can create inequality, especially in fields such as business, medicine, and technology, where English proficiency is often required. As a result, individuals who are not speak English fluently may face difficulties in access global resources, higher education, and professional development, further widening the gap between fluent and non-fluent speaker. Jump into the lexical question. The first one, are there any English words that have become part of your country everyday speech? So Mr. Mubarak said that many English words have become an essential part of everyday speech in Saudi Arabia, especially with the influence of globalization and technology. Words like mall, Wi-Fi, and internet are commonly used in daily conversation, as there are no widely used Arabic alternative for them. Additionally, certain English words such as same have been adopted into casual speech and are frequently used instead of their Arabic equivalents. These borrowed words are particularly common among younger generation who are more exposed to English through social media, entertainment, and education. Over time, English terms have blended into everyday communication, making them a natural part of modern Saudi speech. Next question is, do you code mix or code switch English with the native language? So the answer I get is code mixing between English and Arabic is a common practice in Saudi Arabia, especially in daily conversation. Many people naturally switch between the two languages, blend English words and phrases into their Arabic speech. For example, a widely used phrase is Yalla, let's go, where Yalla is an Arabic word meaning come on, or let's go, and the rest of the phrase is in English. This kind of language mixing is particularly common among younger generation who are more exposed to English through education, social media, and entertainment. Additionally, many professionals and students use English terms in their field or work, as certain technical or business-related words are more commonly understood in English. Over time, this blending of language has become a natural part of communication in Saudi Arabia, reflecting the increasing influence of English in daily life. How do young people in your country adopt new English slang? Are they easily influenced? So basically in Saudi Arabia, young people are highly influenced by social media, music, movies, and online platform, making it easy for them to adopt new English slang. With constant exposure to Western culture, especially American entertainment, they quickly pick up and use informal expression in their daily conversation. Common slang words like cool or bro have become popular among the younger generation, reflecting the strong influence of pop culture. Additionally, platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube introduce new slang terms that spread rapidly among young people. Since English is widely used in digital space, gaming, and social interaction, many young Saudis naturally incorporate these slang words into their speech, blending them with Arabic in everyday communication. This trend highlights how globalization and technology continue to shape language use among the younger generation. For the last question, are there any words that are difficult to pronounce? What and why? So, some English words are particularly difficult for Arabic speakers to pronounce due to difference in phonetics and sounds that do not exist in the Arabic language. For example, words like true can be challenging because the third sound is not naturally found in Arabic pronunciation. making it harder for speakers to articulate smoothly. Additionally, longer words such as vegetable and comfortable pose difficulty due to their unique syllables, stress patterns, which differ from the way words are structured in Arabic. Arabic speakers may also struggle with certain consonant, cluster, or vowel combination that are uncommon in their native language. As a result, pronouncing some English words correctly requires extra practice and familiarity with English phonetics. Last but not least is justification. Some English words are difficult for Arabic speakers to pronounce due to difference in phonetics, syllable structure, and unfamiliar sounds. One of the main challenges is the presence of certain sounds in English that do not exist in Arabic, such as the TR sound in true, which make it difficult for Arabic speakers to articulate smoothly. Additionally, English words with complex syllable structure like vegetable and comfortable pose difficulties because their pronunciation patterns differ from Arabic, where vowels are often more clearly pronounced. Consonant cluster in English, such as strength or creeps, are also challenging since Arabic typically includes vowel sounds between consonants, make it harder for speakers to pronounce multiple consonants in a row. Furthermore, English has more vowel sounds than Arabic, which can lead to mispronunciation, especially in words where short and long vowels make a difference, such as beat and beat, or sheep and sheep. This difference in phonetic and language structure explains why Arabic speakers often find certain English words difficult to pronounce.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Today my groupmates and I will be presenting a comparison and contrast of the features of English in different countries. We will discuss several key aspects under landscape features, explaining the differences and similarities in English usage across Hong Kong, the Philippines, Mozambique and Saudi Arabia. Our focus will be on 4 key questions: the uses of English in daily speech, code mixing and code switching, the influence of slang and pronunciation challenges. Let's begin with the first question. For the first question, are there any English words that have become part of your country's everyday speech? Similarities: outer, Hong Kong, Philippines. Both Hong Kong and the Philippines adopted English due to historical influence. Hong Kong through British rule and the Philippines through American colonization. English has evolved in both countries, making communication more convenient and widely used in daily life. Expanding, Mozambique and Saudi Arabia. English in Mozambique and Saudi Arabia was introduced through trade and business rather than colonization. Both countries have seen a rise in English usage to the globalization and social media over the past 2 decades. For differences, outer Hong Kong and Philippines, the Philippines use Taglish, while Hong Kong mainly adopt English slang. Fluency creates a social divide in the Philippines, while in Hong Kong, English is more of practical tool. Expanding, Mozambique English is influenced by South Africa, while Saudi Arabia growth English in more recent driven by social media. Mozambique has no fluency gap, while Squad and Arabia face socio-economic inequalities.
So for the next question, do you code mix or code switch English with the native language? Similarities: outer Hong Kong and Philippines. Both countries practice code mixing and code switching, with Filipinos using Tanglish and Hong Kong speakers blending English slang into Cantonese. Social media influences young people to incorporate English words into daily conversation. Expanding, Mozambique and Saudi Arabia. People in both countries code mix and code switching English with their native language, especially in business and casual conversation. English words like computer and internet are commonly used. So for the differences, outer Hong Kong and Philippines. The Philippines has a structured code switching system to English, while Hong Kong mainly adds English slang to Cantonese. The Philippines mixes English even in formal settings, while in Hong Kong it is more common in casual speech.
Expanding, Mozambique, Saudi Arabia. Mozambique's code mixing is influenced by South America, while in Saudi Arabia it has grown recently due to social media. Mozambique blends English naturally, while in Saudi Arabia it is most used in business and education.
For the next question, how do young people in your country adopt new English slang? Are they easily influenced? Similarities: outer Hong Kong and Philippines. Young people in both countries easily adopt English slang through social media, music, and entertainment. Slang terms spread quickly among youth, becoming part of daily conversation. Expanding. Mozambique and Saudi Arabia. Social media and global trend strongly influence young people to use English slang. Slang words like bro and chill are commonly picked up from music, movies, and online content. Differences. Outer, Hong Kong and Philippines. In the Philippines, slang is often mixed with Tanglish, while in Hong Kong it is mostly added to Cantonese conversation. English slang spread faster in the Philippines due to heavy social media use. Expanding. Mozambique and Saudi Arabia. In Mozambique, slang comes from neighboring countries like South Africa, while in Saudi Arabia is mainly influenced by social media and entertainment. Saudi youth adopt slang more recently, whereas Mozambique has had more long-term exposure through trade.
So for the next question, are there any words that are difficult to pronounce? What and why? For the similarities, all four countries struggle with English pronunciation due to phonetic differences in their native languages. TH sounds like think and silent letters, harness are common difficulties. For the differences, for outer, Hong Kong and Philippines, Filipinos struggle with TH sounds while Hong Kong speakers find silent letters difficult. The Philippines has more English exposure, making pronunciation challenges less common compared to Hong Kong. For the expanding, Mozambique and Saudi Arabia. Mozambicans struggle with R and L sounds, while Saudis have difficulty with P and V sounds. Mozambique's pronunciation is influenced by Portuguese, while Saudi Arabia's Arabic accent affects English pronunciations. For the uses of English, for the similarities, Hong Kong and the Philippines use English widely in education, government, and business. Mozambique and Saudi Arabia use English in trade and tourism, with younger generations learning it more. For the differences, the Philippines incorporates English into daily speech, while Hong Kong mostly use it in formal settings. Mozambique use English in regional trade, while in Saudi Arabia it is still growing, especially in careers.
And last, for summary and reflection, English is spreading globally, but its role varies across countries. In Mozambique and Saudi Arabia, English is growing due to trade, business, and social media, but local languages still dominate everyday conversation. In Hong Kong and the Philippines, English has a strong colonial influence and is widely used in education, government, and business, with the Philippines incorporating it more into daily speech through Tanglish. This highlights English as a key tool for global communication, career opportunities, and education. However, fluency gaps create a social and economic divides, especially in countries where English is tied to professional success. While English continues to expand, local language remains essential in shaping identity and the culture. So this concludes our presentation. Thank you.